Hey, welcome back to the channel. My name is Mike, and in this video, I'll be showing you step-by-step how to make a WooCommerce online store. And this is something that, although there are a lot of benefits, it's more affordable, it's more flexible, and it has a lot of other plugins and integrations. It can be intimidating for beginners to get started with WordPress and with WooCommerce. So in this video, I'll be going from absolute beginner to expert to power user here on how to set up your online store. We're going to start off with the absolute basics of what really is the structure here. And there's really three main pillars we'll be working with. So when you're working with a WooCommerce website, you're essentially built on top of WordPress, which is built on top of a host. I'll explain what each of those are in detail, but it's important to note that this is a very popular way to make a website, so you are in good company. I believe WooCommerce powers almost 40% of online stores out there. WordPress itself powers more than 40% of the entire internet of blogs and other websites as well. But the way it works is like this. I like to think of it similar to a document on your computer, right? So when you type up the document, you're typing on, say, Microsoft Word or Google Docs or something like that. That is equivalent to WordPress. It's the engine which you're using to create the document. But when you're done, you have to save that somewhere. You can't just close out of it or else it goes away forever. And that is what your host is going to be for a website. It's where that website is actually saved. So we like to use Hostinger. They're a great host. They have really good uptime, fantastic prices. They have very good speed across the board. They just do a really good job as a host. So we like to use them. And that's what I'm going to start with in this video. So that's our host. WordPress is going to be the engine that actually manages all of our content, our website, and just kind of builds everything out. We'll have a theme on top of there, a template, so you don't have to worry about coding or anything like that. It's very easy to drag and drop. And then WooCommerce is going to be the software that goes on top of that to manage our products, to accept payments, to track inventory, do all those different things that you would want to do from an online store. So I'm going to head over to my laptop, and I want to start off by going to santrelmedia.com. So we'll have a link in the description down below, as well as in a pinned comment. You could copy and paste that, or just hit Control and click that. It'll open it in a new tab. That way you can follow along throughout this video. It is also an affiliate link, so it helps to fund the channel at absolutely no cost to you. Helps us make free content like this, something that other people may be charging hundreds of dollars for in a course. But like I said, this is all free information. We don't sell a course. We don't want your money. But if you want to support the channel, you could go through that affiliate link down below. santrelmedia.com/WooCommerce. Since we are using WooCommerce. And that'll bring you to this page right here that is giving us up to 71% off. So what I want to do is, instead of just clicking claim deal, you could scroll down and check out the 3 different plans. Depending on if you're migrating a store, if you already have a lot of products and expect more traffic, maybe you'll be better off with the cloud startup. But if you're just starting a brand new business, whether that is print on demand or drop shipping, or maybe you have your own inventory, but you're just getting started and you don't expect more than, say, 100,000 monthly visits, the base plan could be the right one for you. So $3.99 per month, like I said, very compelling. I'm going to choose this plan right here. And then that brings us to probably the first mistake a lot of people make. They like to go with the 1-month plan. I noticed that. I don't know why though. Honestly, if you're going to do this, I highly recommend getting at least 12 months. If you get 1 month, you're going to spend an extra $5 on the setup fee. You're going to have to pay for your domain, which is another probably $15 to $20. And when it's all said and done, for 1 month, you're going to spend the same amount of money as you would if you got 12 months, which gives you the free domain. There's no setup fee. It's $3.99, so $10 less at the bare minimum. Just trust me, get the 12-month plan. Personally, I prefer the 48-month plan because then it does renew at a lower rate. So that's what I'll be doing for this video. But then going down here, we can create our account. So I'm going to type in my email address. Then I'll enter my credit card information. And before you click submit, go down to have a coupon code and just type in Santrel, and that should take off 10%. So there we go. I took off an additional 10%. Again, just one of the other reasons I like to get the 4-year plan. You could, like I said, you could totally get the 12-month plan, but 4 years, you're saving 10% only one time, and that's going to save it on the entire 4 years. So you're getting 4 years of a website with daily backup, 2 months for free, a free domain name, free setup, free domain privacy. Like, you're looking at 4 years for $172. I don't know. That's like one of the reasons we like using Hostinger. You really can't find that anywhere else on the internet. So I'm going to type in my credit card information and then hit submit secure payment. All right, now we have a couple questions here. Honestly, it doesn't really matter how you answer these. We're going to go through them, and it's just really going to change your dashboard, if anything at all. So I'm going to say I'm making this for myself. We'll say next. We can create a website. We're not going to migrate the website, so we'll say next. And we can now create our WordPress account. So remember, pillar number 1 was Hostinger. That's what we're setting up first. But we're also making a WordPress account. They're technically 2 different accounts, but I recommend kind of setting them up very similarly. If not the same password, just at the very least, make sure you write the password down for both of them. And then say next. Then it wants to know what kind of website we're going to make. This is going to be an online store. I will say next. We can choose a template right now. I'm not going to choose that. I don't want to choose a template. So we could either just, let's just say create a blank site for now. And then we can choose any plugins that we might want to add in here. So WooCommerce, you definitely want to have that. That makes perfect sense. But some other things, maybe you don't need to add this right now. So email marketing, we will be talking a lot about email marketing later on in the video. We actually will be using Omnisend as well, but we're going to get to that later in the video. Let's get rid of all-in-one SEO. Let's get rid of the Google Site Kit. We can keep WP forms. We'll talk more about that later in the video as well. Actually, I'll show you how to get it later, just in case that doesn't pop up for you. So let's deselect everything except for WooCommerce. Then I'm going to say next. And we could generate with AI. I don't want to do that, so I'm going to skip this for now. We can claim our domain name. Remember, that is free for the first year when you get this plan. So let's say, for the sake of example, in this video, I'm going to make an outdoor shop, maybe selling like camping gear, boots, things like that. So I'm just going to say Santrel outdoor gear, or maybe just Santrel outdoors. See if that's available. Let's see if it's available right now. .com. And it's available. There we go. So it's going to be $17 per year after the first year, but $0 for the first year. That's pretty competitive. You can look elsewhere. Like if you want to go to Namecheap and find a domain there and then connect it, you may save a couple dollars, but for how much of a headache it is to do that and like do all the DNS pointing and everything, like it's just easier to get it directly here. It might be an extra $3 per year. I've tried it both ways. Just, I don't know. This is what I prefer to do. I'm going to say next, and then we can choose a little bit more about the registration here. So your location, I'm going to say next step. Contact details. This is going to be just for your domain registration. I can say finish registration, and it's registering the domain. By the way, you should be getting an email. Check your email, and you're gonna have to confirm your domain within like 7 to 14 days, or else it goes away and your whole website's gonna be down. So just make sure you check your email and find that. Search your spam box in case it ended up there. Now we can say next. That's just choosing where your server is. So for us, it's going to be in the United States, but if you want that anywhere else, if you're making a website targeting another country, right? If you're selling things that are specifically going to be more useful in the EU, for example, or I don't know, South America, or Brazil, wherever you are by region or by country specifically, you can choose a server location right there. So now it is creating our credentials, uploading files, getting our whole thing set up. So we're gonna wait a minute or two and then come back when this is set up. All right, and now we are on the Hostinger dashboard. So pillar number 1 complete. There's really not much else we have to do on this pretty much ever. Like now that it's set up, maybe eventually we'll set up our free email, but for now, we're gonna start making this website. By the way, see a little pop-up right there, SSL is now installed, which is great. That's gonna be the little lock that says your website is secure on the top. Very good practice to have that. But now let's actually go over to WordPress. The next thing to do, you'll see this little purple button right here. Let's click on admin panel. It'll bring us over to WordPress. And remember, we do have to have our login for WordPress, but because we went through Hostinger, I believe it'll sign us in automatically here. Yes, it did. And now we are on the WordPress dashboard. So don't be intimidated by this. I promise by the end of this video, you're going to know this like the back of your hand. It's going to be very easy to use all of this. I'll run you through everything in detail. But the first thing we want to do is actually set up our store using a template. So if we go down here to appearance and go to themes, we can choose the theme that we are going to use. There's 3 right there. You don't really want to use those in my opinion. Let's go to add new theme. Personally, I like to use Astra. A lot of people use Astra. It's free to use. And by the way, everything in this video is free except the hosting pretty much. All the plugins I show you, everything else like that. For the most part, they will be free. There are upgraded plans available for them, but for Astra, let's just install Astra right now and start checking out some of the free templates we have available. By the way, once you install it, we also need to click on Activate. So let's click Activate there. That will make it our new theme on the website. But a theme and a template are 2 different things, right? The theme is going to be the fonts and the overall styling of your website. The template is going to be the starting blocks of where we're actually getting this website going. So you'll see right here, starter templates. That's a little pop-up that appears. If it doesn't appear for you for some reason, you can also access this in another way. So on the left side, if we go to Astra, click on starter templates up on the top, and we can say install and activate. So I'm just going to go through this route because it's already here. If you're still on that pop-up on the previous page, you can go through that route. No matter what, it'll take you to this page right here. Everybody feels like they need to do an AI builder. I don't know why. Try it. Go ahead and try it. Maybe the AI website's going to work for you, but in my opinion, the classic starter templates are still a little bit better than AI built websites for now. So I'm going to go with that. We'll check out all of these that are available. Let's dismiss that right there. and we can check out, just kind of scroll through them and look at them if you want. Some of them are premium. A lot of them are free though. So what I want to do instead is go up here and choose e-commerce. I'm going to look at just ones that are related to an online store, maybe specifically a clothing store, sports store. I don't know. I mean, it really could be any of those. I'm just going to say online shop kind of generically and see what we have available here. Don't worry about the picture specifically though, because we are going to be replacing obviously all of the content on here, but just take a look at what the general feel of the website is, because that's going to save you a lot of effort in the future. So because we're doing an online store for like an outdoor shop, these three on the bottom already are like really exactly what we're looking for. So I'm kind of split between these three. They all look quite similar. I really want to check out this one first. So I'm going to click on this one. It'll show you what it is. If you like how it looks, then you could just say continue. You can also change like your logo. You can change the font. So maybe we want something a little bit more. I kind of like this font a little bit better here. The color palette, let's make it more green. I think that's kind of better. It kind of fits the vibe here a little bit more. That earthy one's pretty good as well. No, too green. Ooh, that's kind of aquatic. I kind of like that one. Yeah, I'm going to go with this color palette right here. We can change this in the future, but for now, I'm going to stick with this. Also, we can upload our file for our logo. So I'm just going to go over to ChatGPT just to make things simple. I'm going to have it make a logo. It's not going to be a great logo, but just to kind of show you for the purposes of this video and to keep things moving, this is what I will be doing. Of course, we do actually have a video on how to make AI logos. It's really quite easy to do. I'll link that down below if you need to make a logo for yourself. If you already have one though, just disregard that. So again, not a perfect logo here, but just for the sake of example, I'm going to run with this logo right now. It'll show up on the top. I really don't like that. We'll change that later. We'll change it later. So now I'm going to say continue. We can select some features on here. I don't really need any of those right now, so we're going to skip this step. And now we have to enter just our first name and our email. Then say submit and start building my website. So this will take about 1 minute. And honestly, I'm always very impressed by the website we end up with. All right, so now let's click on visit your website just to kind of show what it looks like. And like I said, based on the template so far, this looks pretty good. We chose the colors. We have our logo up on the top. Again, I really don't like that logo, but we're going to ignore that for now. Going through the website, we have upcoming events. That's not an online store. We will be customizing that in a minute, but let's go up to, let's go back to where we were. So right here, and we can just say visit dashboard. That's going to take us back to the dashboard on WordPress. And by the way, in the future, if you ever need to go to this dashboard and you don't feel like going through Hostinger or you don't feel like going some other route to get here, you just type in your domain /WP-admin, WordPress admin. That's how you get to this page right here. And that will let you log in and end up on your dashboard. So now we have a website. For the most part, our website's kind of structured. Let's go down to WooCommerce and start talking about how to build out the online store aspect, right? That's the third pillar. So we have hosting with Hostinger. We have WordPress setting up the website with a nice template on top. And the third thing is going to be WooCommerce. Let's get that configured just by clicking on WooCommerce on the left. That'll bring you into kind of a little setup process right here. So we can just click on the purple button on the top from Hostinger. So it says continue setup, and it's going to kind of walk us through what this is. So let's set up an online store. We're going to click on that first. And then it has some questions about our business. What type of products are we going to sell? So let's say, I don't know, just other seems fine. Our store is located in the United States. And now I have to go down and find the individual state that I'm in. Okay, that's Pennsylvania. And now I'm going to say continue. So we can add our first product right here. I'm going to walk you through how to add products in the future as well, but let's go through this process because it's kind of an easy onboarding setup for your online store. So I'm going to add a product. So for the first product, I'm going to say premium hydration pack, and we can describe it. So now we're going to create the description. I'm going to use AI to do this. You can also type it out yourself. And let's see what it comes up with down here. We can also add our media. There's other ways to add media though. I don't want to just add it right there in the product description. Instead, we're going to add the product image on the right. But let's see what this comes up with first. So features of the product hydration pack. Wow, that's actually quite a long description here. So let's read through that. And let's continue on down here. So the regular price, what are we charging for this? So let's just say maybe it is $45. So 44, maybe $44.95. You could have a sale price. Maybe right now it's a little bit cheaper. So maybe it's like $41.95 right now, kind of a sale. You can also schedule this, maybe like day, night, different days of the week. We can then go down and choose the inventory. By the way, this is a simple product. We have many different kinds of products, and I'll go through all of them in this video, but just simple one product that's going to be kind of exactly what you think. It's a physical product with not a lot of variations, so you don't have different sizes or different colors, and it's going to be like a physical product, not virtual or downloadable. And it is something that you actually have. That's a simple product. Now we can choose a SKU, which is a stock keeping unit. You just make up a number for however you want to track that. I'll say 10,001. Stock management. Yes, we do want to track inventory for this. Let's say I have a small warehouse, maybe a garage or whatever, and I have maybe 150 of these right now, just starting off with 150. And then once we sell out of those, of course, we will get notifications. But after you sell out, do you want to allow back orders? Can somebody order this and get it whenever you get stock back? Or is it like, hey, once it's done, it's done? And so for this, I'm going to say, sure, allow, but definitely notify the customer that it's going to take a little bit longer. It's something that I know like LL Bean and a lot of other brands in this niche do. So check out others in your niche and see how they operate. Hopefully you don't run out of stock and you can stay on top of that though. Sold individually, you could limit to 1 per order. So if you're selling like toilet paper in 2020, that's what some people were doing, limiting so everyone can kind of get some. But hey, I don't want to limit 1. If you're getting 1 for you and 1 for your spouse, go ahead, order 2. I'm happy with that. Then down here, we can go to shipping. So the weight for this one, let's just say it's going to be about 16 ounces. The dimensions, let's say it's 1 foot by 1 foot by 0.25 feet. So kind of small. Shipping class, we didn't set up shipping yet, but we will set up that later. That's going to be, I promise, we'll get through that. Linked products, if you want to recommend any other thing, upsells and cross sells, I'll explain those when we get to them. But hey, our first product, we're not going to be doing that yet. Attributes, this is a simple product, so I'm not going to add any kind of size or color on here. Of course, we have advanced things if you want to add a purchase note, and you can have other more options down here. That's all I need right now. This looks good. The slug is going to be what comes after the product for this right now. So the slug is going to be what comes after your domain. So by default, the permalink is just the name of that right there. I'm going to leave it as that. I think that's perfectly fine. But if you wanted to change it to like santreloutdoors.com/backpack, keep it shorter, easier to remember, easier for people to find, you could totally do that. And then the product short description right here. Let's just kind of copy the beginning of this right here. Let's just make it a nice short description like that. Now going back up to the top, on the right side, we can set our product images. Click on set product images, and I'm going to upload files. Let's upload files. I'm going to upload all these files. These are ones I'll use throughout the video. Again, I don't actually have physical products right now. So let's go with this one right here. That's going to be our first product image. We can add a couple more. So that's going to be our primary product image, or featured product image, but let's add more product images for that gallery. So let's go with maybe this one right here. We can add that one as a second one, and we can add this as a third one. So let's just have all 3 of these there. I'm going to add all 3. So we'll say add. Now we have 3 down there. We can add categories. Of course, it is useful to, as you start to have more products, categorize them on your store. Maybe it's just like the fall collection, the summer collection. Maybe it's going to be like clothing. Maybe it's going to be boots, or however you want to categorize it. This should be an easier way, not just for you, but also for the customer when they go into your store to kind of find things that make sense. And like I said, it's also going to be easier for you. Maybe you want to recommend everything in one category whenever somebody orders something from that category, right? So if it's backpacking stuff, maybe they're buying boots and you recommend some socks, and you have a whole category of socks that they can choose from. So let's make the new category. This is going to be hiking gear. This is going to be just the name of the category. Add that as a new category, and there we go. That is now included there. We can add product tags as well. I'm just going to say hiking, boots, hiking and boots. We'll say add. So we got those right there. Keep it pretty simple. And now that is our first product. I can go up here and click on publish. We have 1 product on the store ready to go. That is really a pretty big win there. So congratulations. If you made it this far in the video, you already made it further than pretty much anybody, like at least 90% of people out there who want to make an online store. They just never get to this point right here. So I think I would venture as far as to say you probably made it to the hardest part, right? Like you understand the basics, the 3 pillars that we're talking about, and you now have all of them, and your store is well on its way to finding success and reaching customers. So now what we want to do, I want to go and start adding some more products. So now what do we want to do? I want to add more products. So on the left side, right below WooCommerce, you'll see a couple things related to WooCommerce, one of them being products. Let's click on products, and we have that first one there. I want to make more products, but let's kind of explain what the different kinds of products are going to be, just in case you're not just making a simple product. Maybe you have something else going on. So from products, now I want to make the second product. So let's go to add new. And from here, the product name, this is going to be hiking. Let's say premium hiking boots. And this is something that we're going to have multiple sizes for. We might even have multiple colors for these. So if we go down here, you'll see simple product. Well, let's make it a variable product. So go down to attributes, and the first variable we're going to make, let's call it size. First one is going to be size, and we can make these. So let's just say male and female sizes. We'll do it like that. So men's size, let's start at like 6, I guess. So for the product attributes, I'm going to say size, and then I just populated all of these right here. You want to separate them with this little vertical line here. And then when we save attributes, it'll save them all. We can click the drop down and you'll see we can edit them in the future if we wanted to. So save attributes. Let's go down to variations, and we can generate these automatically based on the attributes. So I'm going to say, okay, it should make a bunch based on, there we go, the different versions we had, but this is only based on the sizes, right? So let's actually undo this. Let's remove all of these. I'm going to remove all of them. Let's remove the attributes. And I just want to remove these to show you if we go back to attributes, it actually is able to make a permutation. So if you have, say, the next one's going to be color, let's say add new, let's say add color. This one's going to be color. And this is going to be, let's say, light brown, and then a little vertical line, and then dark brown, save attributes. And now it'll make a full permutation of like men's size 12, light brown, women's size 6, dark brown. And so let's just say, let's say generate variations. And this should have a ton of different ones right here. So you can see, yeah, there we go. So you can see the 2 different colors, the sizes here, and that is your permutation there. So it does actually make a SKU for all of these as well. I think that's very, very helpful to have that. So that should be good. Let's make sure we're saved. Okay, so now that we have all of these, you can actually edit everything at once. So if we look at bulk actions here, we can set the regular prices for all of them. And let's say they're all going to be maybe like $85. We'll say, okay, so now we have a price for all of them. But if you wanted to change the price of just one of them, so maybe if it's only like size 12 or size 13, then maybe we do need to kind of change the price of those. So I can edit maybe just like men's size 12 here. We can edit just this, and you can change the price individually for this. So maybe the larger sizes are going to be like $90 instead of $85. And we can then save that. So that's how you're able to edit them individually. Of course, you can also change a lot about each one. So I would recommend adding an image, at least for all the ones that are the same color, maybe different sizes. If you have images of those, you can do that. But you'll add that right here. You can also add some other things, sale price, additional sizing, shipping class. So different sizes might have different boxes, and you can edit all of that information in here. So that is going to be essentially the details of attributes and variations, a very important concept when you're setting up your store for most products out there. So let's go up here and say update. And while we're waiting on that, I'm going to set the product image over here. So I'm going to go with these, let's say this image right here, just the boots. And again, if you guys remember, you're probably getting the hang of this by now. Let's go and add some other product images for the gallery. Hold down Command on Mac, Control on Windows, select the images, and then we'll have our product gallery there. So there we go. We've got this right here, water protection, blah, blah, blah. That's our little description. Linked products. Maybe we're going to upsell something. You can, I don't know, let's just say hydration pack. See if we can find our hydration pack. There we go. Now we have 2 products. Before we go and flesh those out, let's go to the first product. And I want to show you how to check out what the product looks like. If we just click on this right here, you'll see the permalink at the top. We can just click on that or hit command click or control click. It'll open it in a new tab. And you can see, without really doing much, this is our product page. Like we can add it to the checkout, add it to the cart, people can purchase it. This looks really good in my opinion, a really good start for an online store. So let's just say someone wants to buy 2 of them. They can add them to their cart. That'll pop up. They can say view the cart. And then over in the cart, you can see it walks them through it. It shows how much they're saving. They can remove the item. They can customize their cart, or they could proceed to checkout. And again, the checkout page looks really good. Like they're able to do pretty much everything, but there is no payment method yet. We will be setting up the payment methods in just a minute. Let's go back and talk about some of the other ways we can set up products though. And now I want to show you how to actually go and check out the product and kind of just look at it on your store. So on the top, you'll see the permalink right here. You'll see this for your other product as well, but let's check this one out first. If I hold down Command on a Mac or on Windows, hold down Control, and then click on that link, it'll bring it into a new tab. It'll open it up there. And if we click on that, it brings us to our site. And honestly, I think this looks really quite good considering we haven't done that much work. Like we did 0 coding, we did 0 like configuration of all this stuff, but it's already there. And I think it looks quite good. So here you can see a customer ends up on this page. They can see some product images. They can zoom in on this, which is really nice. They can check out other images here and zoom in on them as well. So maybe like this image looks pretty good. And if they want to choose a size, maybe like women's size 6, and they want these in light brown. Now the image doesn't change here. Well, it kind of did change, but it didn't change to a light brown one because I didn't configure that. But I showed you where you could do that. Now let's say somebody wants to order 2 of them. They're going to add them to their cart. And you'll see right here, the little cart pops up. They can say view cart. That'll bring them to their cart. And again, the cart looks good. They can add a coupon over here, which we'll talk about how to structure that. I think that's very, very powerful. Actually, Omnisend does that quite well. And then, of course, they can proceed to checkout. When they click proceed to checkout, the contact information, the billing address, payment options, you'll see a red box there because we have not yet configured that. But don't worry, we'll get into setting up the payment methods so you can accept payments. But I would say this is a really good start. And hopefully you're pretty happy with yours as well, looking something like this. So I'm going to close out of this tab, bring us back to products. I'm not going to go into like a ton of other products. I don't want to get too repetitive here, but just some really important things to note. I'm going to go to add new and just kind of highlight some key differences down here. So in product data, we have different product types. We talked about simple product. We talked about variable product. Now, if you make a simple product and then you go down and add attributes, that's totally fine. You can do that, but variable product is an easier way to set that up. We do have downloadable products. So if you're selling maybe art, maybe it is an audiobook, maybe it's music and you have like an MP3 file or a WAV file, you can upload those right here. Otherwise, set up the product exactly the same. And then at checkout, they will be able to receive this file and they can download it. They can get their own file. So I think that for ebooks and like, maybe an online course, even not the best way for an online course because things can get pirated if you just share the file. Maybe a wallpaper, like a desktop wallpaper. I know a lot of fellow tech creators do stuff like that. All cool stuff you can set up with a downloadable product. You also have virtual products as well if you wanted to configure that. Essentially intangible, they're not shipped, very similar to a downloadable product as well. Typically, if you're doing a downloadable product, you'll just do virtual as well. So it doesn't ask for shipping details. Like they don't need to put in their shipping information when they order it. You can see the little shipping tab goes away when we select virtual there. And then you have grouped product. That's a little bit more complicated, but I think the best example I could think of would be golf clubs, right? If you're selling a bunch of different irons, you would have them all as a grouped product. Like, hey, this is this lineup of irons. And they can go through and say, all right, I want the 4 iron, I want the 6 iron, or maybe you just want all of them. And they're all going to be on one page, one description, maybe one image for that as well. And so that's going to be kind of a very unique situation. Most stores probably won't use a grouped product, but that is how you'd go about using that. Again, if you select it, you can have multiple products that are connected in there as, like a list of them. Like it's kind of tough to explain, but if you go down, like I said, linked products, you'll have all the different products that you want to include in there that make a group. You could also do this if you have like a bundle or a kit or something like that. And it's just kind of, like I said, a very probably more uncommon way to set it up. But one of the benefits, again, of using WooCommerce here is that you can do things like that. Additionally, I haven't mentioned, talking about benefits here of WooCommerce, I probably should have mentioned earlier in the video, like Shopify is great, all those other platforms are great, but for things like group products, for things like digital products, WooCommerce is going to have the benefit of just, first of all, being able to do that at all. Like Shopify is very, very difficult to have digital products listed on there unless you're going and adding in a lot of third-party software. So anyway, continuing on here, I kind of just wanted to highlight those. The last one is external or affiliate product. It's not something that I've ever really done, but if you are, say, an influencer and you have maybe your own merch, but you also want to have a couple like recommended products on your store that could be affiliate links, maybe on Amazon, maybe your favorite book, maybe your favorite camera gear, whatever, you can have those linked just by pasting the URL to your Amazon affiliate link or whatever affiliate link right here. You can have a button text that says, buy it on Amazon. You can add an image in here. Obviously, you're not tracking inventory because it's not a product that you have inventory for. But otherwise, you can have that set up. And it's just going to be when they click on the product, they go and click order. It'll bring them over to Amazon or wherever it's actually being sold. You can also do this with like software. If you're an affiliate for somebody else's online course, for example, you could have that set up through WooCommerce right here. So that was kind of a lot right there, kind of talking about the different products. Hopefully you have at least 1 or 2 products set up on your store by now. Now let's kind of continue on and talk about how we can get those actually showing up on our store. And then we'll come back and set up the back end of shipping and different things like that. So when we want to edit our website, we haven't done this yet. The way you want to do this is actually by going up to pages, click on pages. You'll see we have all these different pages that were imported with that starter template. We have a home page, we have a contact page, a checkout page, an about page. We're going to customize all of those. So if we just go down to any one of these pages and we click on edit, it's going to bring us into a fairly ugly editor. This is the default WordPress editor. Makes it honestly quite difficult to move anything around and change anything. It's all over on the right side. What I really like to do is get a different editor. These are free to get as well. So Elementor is my favorite one. Let's go back and actually set that up. So I'm going to go back and we can go down to plugins. So remember in the very beginning, we talked about the different plugins that were available when we were setting this up, like WP Forms and Omnisend and those other ones. Well, so far we really don't have a lot on here, but the one that I definitely do want to get is, like I said, Elementor, so we can actually go and customize the design of our website. So I'm going to search for plugins. I'm going to type in Elementor. It should pop up right there, Elementor. I'm going to say install now. Also, like I said, this is a free one to use. You could get a premium one if you want to get some other little things built into your website, more advanced elements. But for the most part, Elementor is able to build most of the websites that I've ever built in the past. So I really don't like the starter template that I ended up with here. I'm going to just select the pages that I don't like and move them to trash. You can always use some of the pages if you want to, but now that we have Elementor here, which, you just, like I said, go down to plugins, add Elementor. I want to go up to pages. Let's go up to pages, right? I want to go to pages and I want to add a new page. So we're going to add a new page here. We're going to call this one home. This is just going to be our home page. We're going to call this home. And we can edit this with Elementor. Of course, you have settings on the right side. We'll talk about that later, but let's talk about how we can just build out this page from scratch. So that'll bring us into the Elementor editor. Now, if we want to get started from here, I'm just going to click on this little S on the right side, and we can choose from those templates again if we'd like a different template. I really didn't like that one because it just wasn't based on shop that well. I think it was actually this one. Good for a blog or a personal portfolio, but I think maybe something like this would be a little bit better. So if we click on that, let's kind of import this one. I think this is going to be better. Let's import this one as well as the required plugins. So we're going to import this. It's going to install it on our site and we'll be able to use this one for our home page here. So let's give that a second. No. So I'm going to go with this one. Let's go with the home page. I'm going to save the template, and there we go. Now that is our new homepage right here. So this is being edited with Elementor as well, so much easier to kind of manage everything here. So this is using what's called a section layout. You can see it's kind of pink box outlining the first section right here. Goes all the way down to right there. And then below here, this kind of darker background. Typically the backgrounds are a good indication of where one section starts and ends. Down here we have our next section in here. And of course, if we wanted to move these sections, you can click on the little 6 dots and just click and drag that up or down until you see the thick pink line and drop it. And now it'll be up there. So this was 2 different sections here. If I want to move that one up as well, we can drop that down here. And you can kind of rearrange your website as needed with that. If you wanted to add another section, so maybe something right below here, so maybe right in here, we can click on the plus and that'll add a new section in there. In this section, you can add all kinds of different things. So if, on the left side, if I click on the little plus icon, we can add elements. So within each section, you have what's called elements. So with those elements, you could have text, you can have image, you can have a title, you can have a video, a button. There's a lot of things you can add in here, even some pro things as well. So if you go beyond the free ones, which by the way, there are more free ones down on the bottom, don't be fooled into thinking there are only these, 8 or 10 free ones up here. You have a bunch on the bottom as well for, image box, carousel, gallery, icon list, progress bar, a lot of different things that we could add in here. So let's just say maybe I wanted to add an image and I want to add some text. But if you want to add them on the left or the right side, you'll need to split this into multiple columns. So the best way to split it is to use columns. So we're going to click on the little plus. We can choose if we want this to be a flex box or a grid. I'm going to say flex box, and I'm going to say I want to have maybe 2 columns right here. So maybe on the right is the image and the left is the text, or the other way around. Now, if we click on the plus, like I said, all these elements appear and we can click and drag them over very easily. So let's click and drag a title over there, click on the plus, and let's add a paragraph below that. So right below the heading, right below the heading. And then over here, again, just click on that little gray box, click on the plus, and then let's put a button down there as well. Click and drag a button over into that container as well. And we can customize where that layout is actually placing those. But now on the left side, let's go and add an image. We can go and again, just click and drag image over to here. And now we have this little section set up. But let's say we want to customize this further. We can customize the entire section by clicking on that little 6-dot array, and you'll have 3 tabs here. The first tab is going to be generally based on the layout, how you want it to be placed, how much space you want above and below it, if you have any gaps or anything like that. Usually there's not a whole lot you need to change right here, but style is going to be where you can really customize how it looks. So we can change the background. Maybe the background is going to be a classic, just a regular color background. It could be a gradient, it could be an image, it could be a slideshow, or when you hover over it, maybe something could happen. You can have a transition to another color. So I'm going to say normal. I'm going to choose a classic one. And let's just say this is going to be, again, you could choose an image here, or you could choose a color. So to choose a color, click on that. And let's just say maybe we want something kind of darker, definitely more on the green hue spectrum. So maybe like around there, that could be good. We can have an overlay on this as well. So if you wanted to have the overlay being, some type of image, it's like classic, we can choose an image to kind of overlay here. Now this won't necessarily be a great example of a background. You can see it's like way too much going on, makes it very hard to read stuff. But the image, you can choose the opacity of it. So you can choose it to be incredibly transparent. You can have it completely visible. But if the opacity is like very, very low, it can add like a fun little tree line to the background. And of course, we can choose the background to be maybe a little bit darker. Maybe it's going to be, like I said, the background, we can choose that color as well. So maybe it's going to be a little bit darker, something like that. So you can still read everything very easily on here. Now, that is going to be the summary of style. Background overlay. You can add a border if you wanted to. I'm not going to add one here. And then we have advanced. Now, over in advanced, we can choose the margin and the padding. So that is going to essentially define how much space you have above and below and on the right and left of anything. This works for elements, this works for columns, and of course, this works for sections. So if I wanted to add margin, let's add it to the top. Let's say we're going to add 10 pixels of margin. You can see that goes all the way around, and you get that space on the outside. So margin is going to be on the outside, whereas padding is going to be on the inside. So if I say 10, maybe let's make it like 30 so it's more visible. You'll see the padding on the top and the bottom. These are all linked together. So if you change one, they all change. But if you don't want that, click on this little chain icon and we can delete the right and the left. Maybe we don't want padding there, but maybe we want this to instead be like 100 on the top and 100 on the bottom. So kind of gives us a little bit more real estate to work with there. Additionally, in this advanced section, if we go down on the bottom, we can go to responsive. This is very, very important. And we can turn things on or off on mobile, on desktop, or on tablets. So looking at this website right here, there's a lot we need to work on, of course, but it's important to edit it on desktop and then view it on mobile, because many of your customers are going to be on mobile on their phone. And if you don't think that, you are probably very mistaken. At the very least, it's worth checking this out. So this layout right here is responsive. So it should be kind of morphing for the most part over to a mobile view. But if you look at this and you're like, hey, you know what? This just does not look good on mobile. The whole background image gets weirdly smushed. I could just hide this on mobile. So you hide it, it's grayed out. That means when somebody goes to your site, this just does not exist. The bottom of this leads directly into the top of this, and this grayed out area will not be there. So that's how you can go about changing things, making them responsive, and adding elements and sections and everything else to just mobile or just desktop websites. So that's kind of a summary of those three things. Now let's start customizing this website a little bit more. I think by the examples I'll show you, this will really start to make a lot more sense, and you'll probably get the hang of how you can actually edit your entire website. So let's click on the image here. I'm going to click on the pencil icon. That'll bring it up over here. We can change the image. So let's delete the one that's there. Let's choose a new image. And maybe for the first image, we just want to have some camping gear shown out. Maybe like the boots were kind of cool. I like them, but maybe this right here, just a quick little image that was made with ChatGPT. It's a little bit too wide. I'm not the biggest fan of that, but if we wanted to customize that, we can of course click on the image, and then over here, we can click on edit the image. We can crop that in a little bit. So if we just go to crop, let's crop it in a little bit more, make it more of a square. I actually don't really like that text up top. There we go. So something like a little square like that. I'll say apply the crop, save the edits. And now if we go back to where we were with the image, so let's say select, it should look a little bit better. So there we go. We have an image on the left side. We can customize the background here so we can see that. That's a little bit of an image overlay on the background like we talked about before. Let's kind of get rid of that. So if we click on the 6 dots here, so if we go over to style, I believe there should be a background overlay. Sure enough, there is. We can click on that and delete that, get rid of that little leafy thing in the bottom corner. I don't really like that. So let's click on delete. There we go. That is now gone. And same thing up here. We have a little image on the very top. I don't think we need that. I'm going to delete that as well. And so for that, we can actually right click on the pencil icon and then click on delete. That'll get rid of that right there. And we can change all this text very easily by just clicking. So we can just click on that text and just delete all of that and type whatever it is that we want to type there. Now, if we highlight that text, we can go to style over here. Now for this text, if we click on the pencil icon, this will pop up. We can go to style, make sure you select content here, and we can choose the color of that. So this is based on the template that it gave us. It's like a weird blue color. I don't want that. I want something a little more earthy, maybe like more of a brownish green, a warmer green tone. So maybe like that would be a good color right there. And of course, I recommend copying this color because we want to use it on other things as well. So copy that little hex color code. I'm going to click off of this. And now let's click up here on this one, go to style, click on the color, and again, just paste in that color. Makes it easier to match up your colors. Same thing with the button down here. I don't really like that button color. Let's go down to button, go to style, go to the green, and then paste in our new green. Now, that's kind of a summary of how you're going to be editing like this section right here, but the button's also kind of in a weird spot there. So if we click on position or look at position, we can click on center. I think center looks a little bit better. And we can choose if we want it to be further up and down using our padding and our margin. Of course, over in the advanced, we do also have our padding and our margin here as well. So we have weird padding on the top, 25. I don't want that. Maybe I want like 15 on the top, and I'd like some on the bottom as well, 15 on the bottom, kind of keeping it a little more balanced right there. So that's looking a little bit better. This is still not great, honestly. This is quite rough for the beginning of a website, but we do want to have our products somewhere up here. So if I want to add to the product to the top, there's a couple ways we could do this. One is we could just go over here and search for product, and you'll see we can have like our products, but right now we do actually have to upgrade to do that. So if we click on upgrade, I'm not going to do it right now, but Elementor, you can upgrade to Elementor Pro, and that'll allow you to add products like that. Or the other kind of workaround we could do here is just to kind of do what we did down here, but for the product. So let's close out of that and let's actually just duplicate this right here. So if I can right click on this and say duplicate, now we have two of that section. Maybe the first one's going to be our product. So let's click on the pencil icon. I'm going to turn this into our product, our kind of a way to order the first product. Let's make them the boots. I'm going to say select, and I'm just going to say this is going to be premium hiking boots. And then we can have some text down here. So this could be our product. Oh, then we have some text down here. This could be our product description. I'm just going to leave it as that for now. We also have weird spacing above here. So I'm going to go to this section, go to advanced, and we have that padding on the top and bottom. I don't need that. Let's get rid of that on the top and the bottom. Maybe instead just make it like 10 on the top, just so we have a little bit of space there, a little bit of breathing room. Same thing on the bottom. And then down here, the shop now button, we can link this here, this shop now button. Let's customize that so that the content, let's link it over to the product page. So the way we can find that product page is, of course, if we go back to our dashboard, like I said, we're just going to go back to the product and we're going to copy that link in there so we have the link to the product. So the hiking boots, I'm going to click on them. I'm just going to actually highlight this. Actually, I can click it and just copy it from here. We're going to copy this, and then over in this shop now button, I'm going to paste the link. So we paste the link there, and now it'll say shop now. We can also add the price. Let's add the price in here. So if I click on the little plus icon, let's go and add that just as some text. I'm going to add some text, click and drag that maybe right down here, and we could say price, or we could just write the price down. This could be like $84.99. This is kind of not the best way to do it. It's kind of a backhanded way that, it saves you money by doing this the free way here, essentially. But it is a way that you can set up your product right there. So let's kind of change the style on this one for this text. Let's make sure it is a darker color. Make this text black for the price. And we can, make it bold. Make this bold. There we go. And yeah, so there we go. Now I can publish this. So that is this page right here. Let's go back to our WordPress editor, clicking on this button and say exit to WordPress. From here, this is called home. So I want to make sure that this is actually the home page we have set for the website. So currently our home page is that other one. You see it says front page right there. We want it to be this one instead. So if I go down to settings, you're going to go down to reading. We're going to reading, and then we can change it to new home. So then we can change it to what I called new home. That's our new home page. And of course, go down here and save the changes. So now that should be saved. And now if we hold control and click on visit site, so let's take a look at our website right now. On the top, we have our premium hiking boots. You can see the price, a little bit of a description about them. If you hit shop now, it brings you over to the purchasing page. So if somebody adds one to their cart, we can then go check out the cart right here. It shows up on the right side. You can say view cart. This all looks great. You can apply a coupon code right there, which we will generate in a second. You can also say buy now. It'll take you over to the checkout page. And here you can enter all your contact details. Like I said, we still don't have the ability to accept payments. So we're going to do that just actually right now. Let's go back to the WordPress dashboard, and you'll see a little red thing on the top that says set up payments. If not, we can also access that down in the settings. But let's go to the top, click on set up payments. We're going to connect with Stripe. So that's the first way that they have you setting it up. I'm going to enter my email address. And I'm just going to sign into a Stripe account I already have. If you don't already have one, you can create a Stripe account. Very easy to do. It's going to ask for some basics right now. Are you an individual? Are you a business? Are you a nonprofit? We can say continue. Then we can enter our details, our address, our date of birth, and things like that. And then it's going to ask for our website. So we can just type in our domain and the product description. Just here, I'm just going to say some premium hiking boots. And we can choose the industry as well. So clothing and accessories probably makes the most sense for this one. Now we can select an account for your payouts. So connect your bank account here. And then once it says success, we are done. I'm going to click on done. And then we can click on next. Now it's going to ask what the statement descriptor is. Make sure that this is something very, recognizable. So the website makes perfect sense. So people know when they're checking their credit card statement, their bank statements, what's actually going to appear there. You don't want it to be some random string of characters. So that looks good. So if somebody, sees that, they're not going to dispute the charge. They remember what they did with that. Also the short end one, Santrel, let's say, so we'll leave that. We can have a customer support number. I'm going to not show that on the receipts. And then we can say continue. Then you can opt in or out for Stripe tax. So that's going to be your sales tax collection, of course. And if everything looks good, you can agree and submit. That will automatically take you to the next step of create a webhook. So I'll say create, save. Now we can connect to gateway. I'm going to say activate. There's also other ways depending on where you are in the world. We can also activate Express Checkout for Google Pay and Apple Pay, much easier for mobile orders. And then it'll say, congratulations, you did it. Once we're done, we can click on the X on the top right, and we are now able to accept payments as long as everything went through and was actually processed and accepted by Stripe. So that is very important. But now that we are here on the dashboard of WordPress, I want to kind of go through everything, kind of give you a little bit of a layout of the land here, what we're actually working with. So if you click on the WordPress logo on the top left, that'll bring you to essentially like the main landing page you get to on WordPress. If you click on dashboard, this will give you a little bit of a rundown of any updates you might have. You can see updates right here. I recommend checking this out as frequently as possible, at least once a week or whenever you log on to your site. You want to go here and check out, see if there are any updates. For example, we have 2 updates down here, 2 plugins that need to be updated. Any themes that need to be updated will show up down here. And what you want to do is select all of them and update the plugins. Now, do not click off this page. Very, very important. You'll see things happening. Maintenance mode, when that is enabled, you do not want to click off this, or you're going to have to go in and manually disable maintenance mode from Hostinger's dashboard. So instead, wait till it says disable maintenance mode and it says all updates have been completed. And now it is safe to click off of this page. That's really, really important that you do that. Otherwise, it's just a little bit more of a headache to get your website back. Going down, of course, Astra and Cart Flows, that's the theme, and that is a plugin right there. I'm not going to talk about those right now. I want to talk about the fundamentals of WordPress and the dashboard here. Posts are going to be any kind of blog posts you have. We don't have any posts right now except this little sample one. So if you're writing more articles, and if you want to use AI to do that, be cautious because ranking in Google might be a little trickier when you're using AI written articles. But if you have maybe a writer or if you're writing them yourself, you'll see all of your articles right here, and you can manage them quite easily by just going to edit, or even just quick edit if you need to change the slug, the title, or the date that it was published. Going down, we have media. You probably won't be visiting this all too often. This is just all of the media we uploaded or was given to us through a template on WordPress here. And if you ever need to, customize anything, change anything, swap out images, you can do that right here. But I rarely visit this page. Speaking of pages, we have pages right here, and these are going to be anything on your website that is not a blog article. So more like your about page, your checkout page, your home page, anything like that. So these pages all show up here. We kind of talked about this a little bit earlier on in the video as we made new pages. Of course, go through these, and if you want to change, like this one's called plants, I don't want that. So maybe a quick edit could change the name of that quite easily. And we could just say, we could call this one shop page. This could be shop, and the slug could just be, that looks good. We'll say update. And now we have a shop page right there. And if you want to edit any of these, of course, clicking on edit right there will take you into the WordPress editor. Or if you see edit with Elementor, you can edit them with Elementor, which is the way that I would recommend editing all of your pages. We have, of course, comments down here, and this is going to be anytime somebody leaves a comment, specifically on a blog or a post rather, you'll be seeing those right here. You can manage them. There are a lot of spam bots out there, so be cautious. You can go through and select one, and then you can choose if you want to approve it, unapprove it, mark it as spam, or move it to the trash can. Spectra is another. We don't really need Spectra is going to be a plugin. WooCommerce, of course, is a plugin. WooCommerce has a lot of things in here, though. You can see your orders. So as people place orders, you'll see all of those right here. You'll see the customers. So if somebody calls you with a customer, maybe like customer complaint or something related to that, they have a question about their order, you can go down here, check out your customer library, and actually go to the individual customer and manage that a little bit more accurately once you have the details about them, if you need to initiate a return or something like that. Of course, products, we talked a lot about products already. We have analytics down here. This is going to be kind of just one of the many analytics tools you have available. This one's going to show you just in general total sales, net sales, orders, products sold, and some other charts down here. However, I highly recommend getting a plugin or several plugins related to Google Analytics and Google Search Console. Those are two that you should at least set up, if not as a plugin, which you can do through like Monster Insights, for example. But if nothing else, just go to a new tab, go to Google and look up Google Search Console. Google Search Console, that's going to be one right here. You can start this, and I just walk through this. I'm not going to do it in this video, but set up Google Search Console. It's going to show you where you rank in Google, what keywords you're hitting on, what keywords you might be missing, what your competitors are doing. Like, you can really learn a lot from this very, very easily using Google Search Console. Also, we have analytics. And so Google Analytics is the second one I recommend setting up, and you can do this. Monster Insights is a really easy way to set this up. So if you go down to plugins, you could also just in a new tab go to analytics.google.com, but I'm going to say add new plugin, and we're going to say Monster Insights, and it should pop up first. Here we go, Monster Insights. And this, like I said, is going to show you a lot about your session time, how long people are on your website, where they go. If they end up on some broken links, you can identify those pretty easily with this. If a lot of people end up on like your 404 page, for example, really a powerful plugin. It's free to install as well, so I recommend getting that on your website. But continuing down on the left side, of course, after analytics, we have marketing. There's not a whole lot in this particular tab I really want to talk about with marketing. There is a lot of marketing that we will be doing, and we'll do that in a minute. But let's continue down. We have templates right here. So if you are making a lot of posts or a lot of pages that have a very similar format, you can make a template with Elementor, very easy to do. And then you can kind of save yourself some effort in the future when you're making those similar posts. Of course, going down, we have appearance. This is going to be where you can customize the theme, as I mentioned before, or we can go up on the left side to Astra right there, and you can customize the theme a little bit more. So if you wanted to change the color scheme or the font or anything more specific, maybe the header, for example, within your website, you can do all of that right there. We also have plugins down here. We have users. So if you have more authors, there are several different formats you can have for the user. So if I say add new user, you'll see the permissions. We can have them as a subscriber, a customer, a shop manager, a contributor, an author, an editor, or an admin. And I'll have a link in the description below that kind of explains what each of those actually do. Because, for example, if you want somebody to be able to see your analytics and also publish articles, that might be different than somebody who can just write articles and can't publish them, or somebody who, can just view it in general and not really do much else on your website. Then down here in settings, let's say cancel. I didn't want to change anything here. So let's go down. So let's go down to settings, say leave. And within settings, there are a couple things that we do want to do. First of all, make sure that it does say HTTPS. That's going to be your SSL, that the S is right there. That's very, very important. Additionally, you can change your date format, your time format. Those both look good to me. The week starts on Monday. Yes, that sounds good. Going through these, you can change anything related to writing settings, reading settings. If I want to go down to permalinks, that's actually one that I might want to change. You want to make sure that, in my opinion, this is the best one if you go to post name. So if you have a blog article, I usually just leave it like that. So yourdomain.com/ the name of the post. You can always customize it, of course, but I think that's much better than $P = 123. I think that's just a little bit less memorable. And also, I don't think Google really appreciates that quite as much. All right, so our website is definitely not complete, but I think it's time we can actually get started with some of the marketing for this website. Our favorite tool to do this with is actually an email marketing platform. Great for remarketing when people go to your website, maybe abandoned cart recovery, or just upselling other products to potential customers. In a new tab, let's go to Santrel. This is a second link in the description, by the way. Santrelmedia.com/Omnisend. You'll see this right here, and we can start a free trial. We can set this up right now. I'm going to say see pricing because this doesn't actually have to be expensive. There is a free version as well. If you guys wanted to start off with a free version, you could totally do that. There's a standard plan for $16 per month. And of course, there is a pro plan as well. Omnisend has a lot of really cool benefits though. So you can really easily set up automations, for example, for abandoned cart recovery or anyone's birthday or just a welcome email, different things like that. I'm going to go with the standard plan right now. So I'm going to sign up for the standard plan. Then we will connect that to WordPress over here in a second. But let's start off right here. I'm going to sign up with email. We'll say sign up. And then we have to go and confirm our email. Email confirmation link will bring you right here. Now I can enter my name and the store details. And we're building on WooCommerce. Let's say continue. There we go. So now we are on the dashboard for Omnisend. If we go back to WordPress right here, we go to plugins, we can say add new plugin. And now let's search for Omnisend. And we'll say search. Omnisend should pop up right there, the first one. So we're going to say install now. And then we can say activate. Now, once it's active, we can go back to that other tab where we have Omnisend. We'll say connect your store. We're connecting WooCommerce. We have the Omnisend plugin. So now that we installed it, we can go up to Omnisend for WooCommerce. We can say connect your account. It'll open a new tab. And because we are already signed in, we're already logged in, we can just say approve. And that will be setting it up very easily. So this is going to do a couple things, create webhooks and stuff like that. But really, like I said, the benefit is that it automates a lot for you. It'll do the abandoned cart recovery and everything like that, and actually make custom coupons for each individual recipient. So you don't have to worry about the coupons you make being like fall 10 that then end up on every single coupon site out there. And then every viewer is getting that same discount when it's really intended for a couple people in a strategic email marketing campaign. So this wants to know the colors. That looks good. I'm going to say save brand assets. It's great because it actually just pulled that from our website. Now we can say, let's do this. It's going to walk us through a couple cool automations. As I mentioned, the first one, let's just say launch sign up form. I think that sign up form looks pretty good. Just a basic one, but of course if we wanted to customize it, you could go and click on this and change anything, or you can click and drag anything over here. So if you want to know, for example, the date, you can just ask for like birthday. You can add that in there. You could have a checkbox. You could have, like, for example, if you wanted to say legal consent, put that down here. Keep me up to date, right? Depending on where in the world you're actually marketing, that could be very, very important. And if you want to add anything else, you could just drag it over. So I'm going to say enable form. Oh, it looks like I accidentally forgot to add my privacy policy. So we're going to say fix issue. And I don't know if I have a link to my privacy policy page yet. Let's go and check that out so if I go back to pages, there's my privacy policy right here. I can say quick edit. And so go back to pages, find my privacy policy. I think I have a link to it right here. Where's the link? There we go. Here's our privacy policy page. So I'm going to copy this link back to where we were. I'll paste that right here. We will save this. Now we can say check for issues. Looks good. And I'm going to say enable form. There we go. So now we have our ability to collect subscribers. Now we can have a welcome email. This next thing that's super easy to set up. I'll say continue setup. We can use only emails, or you could do SMS as well if you wanted. I'm going to say start workflow, start my workflow. And now that's enabled. Very little effort. We had to do almost nothing for that right there. Now let's go back to the dashboard. The next thing we have is abandoned cart recovery. I'm going to launch this workflow as well. And this kind of shows us what's going to happen. So if somebody goes and adds something to the cart, for whatever reason, if they don't check out, maybe like the example I use is if somebody knocks on your door or your laptop dies or something, and then you get distracted, you end up not purchasing something that you really wanted to purchase, but for whatever reason, like you just ended up not doing it. Maybe you needed more time to think about it. This is going to be a reminder then saying, hey, 1 hour later, like you have this in your cart, like, do you want to buy this now? If they don't respond to that, 11 hours later, you could say, hey, like your cart misses you, here's another thing, and then wait another 12 hours. And usually the last one's going to be a bit more of a heavy discount saying like, hey, just in case you're still considering it, here's 20% off, just kind of push that sale through. So let's say continue setup. We can only use email, start the workflow. And now we can say show my workflow. So there we go. Now we have abandoned cart and abandoned checkout as two separate things here. And we can click on either one of them and kind of dial in exactly what I was saying. So if you wanted to wait maybe 12 hours instead, we could say wait 12 hours instead of 11 hours, customize that. And then down here, if you wanted to change what that discount actually was, we can change that down here as well by editing the content. So say yes, save. I'll let them finish the workflow, publish changes. And from here, we are able to customize a lot about this. So we have little product recommendations down here for upsells and cross sells, which is really great. Additionally, if you wanted to add, let's go and say a quick add. Let's see if we can add a discount in here. a unique discount. There's static discounts going to be like fall 10 or spring 25 or whatever. Unique discounts going to be different for every individual user. One, it looks better for them, so they're more likely to actually use that, I think, because it feels more custom. And two, like I said, you're not going to end up on every coupon website out there. So I'm going to click and drag that over here, and we'll have our custom discount. And this is going to be maybe 15%. It'll automatically generate this. It's linked up with WooCommerce, so it does that for you. You don't have to worry about setting that up. I'm just going to say finish editing, and now that will actually send out to anyone who goes to the cart to enter their email and they don't actually proceed with checkout. So I think that's pretty great. Now let's close out of this, and I think there's one more automation on the dashboard that we want to set up. Drive traffic to your store with an email. So we could create an email campaign. I don't really feel like doing this right now, but I'll show you guys essentially how you do it. If you go to create email right here, we can choose the subject, the sender's name. We can choose the pre-header, which, when you get an email, you see the little thing right here, the pre-header, and you assume that is content from the email. More often than not, it's actually not. It's very well thought out and really designed to make you click on the email. It's very important and part of click-through rate. The goal of emails, of course, is to get the highest click-through rate or the highest open rate possible, so that Google or Gmail or whatever platform is being used by the recipients doesn't actually filter out your email as spam. So you want a really high open rate so it gets recognized as an important email and doesn't go to spam for Gmail and things like that. So I'm going to close out of this. I'm not going to create an email at the moment, but going back to automations, this is really why I like Omnisend the most. If we go to create a workflow, there are a ton of other ones as well. So maybe post-purchase, let's click on that. There are a bunch of automations here. You could cross-sell things and say, hey, since you bought this and you really liked it, check out this other thing. Maybe it's an accessory that relates very well to the product they already ordered, or just something that, if you're selling a lot of phone cases, maybe it's going to be like a charging stand or something that people who are buying the phone case are very likely to want afterwards. Another idea would be maybe it's product reviews. Maybe like if you're really doing well and you're selling some things, you want people to go back and leave a review so that you can have, for one, you can have honest feedback, and two, other potential buyers will see, 200 reviews or 300 reviews, and that'll give them more confidence to actually make the purchase because there are so many other people who said positive things about the product. Of course, you also have the ability to set up like replenishment reminders. So if you're selling supplements, that could be a good idea there if you didn't already set it up as a subscription, although I would recommend subscriptions as an option for something like that. And besides the type of email right here, you can also choose what the goal is. So maybe it's going to be to cross-sell, and they have two different types of cross-sell right here. Maybe it is to build loyalty. So again, product reviews, birthday, maybe they get a little birthday. Let's do this one. Since we collected the birthday on that little on the form in the beginning, let's go and create a birthday email right here. So wait until 9 o'clock in the morning on the recipient's birthday, and then send a little birthday email and say, treat yourself to something special. Let's actually edit the contents of this. So over here, 15%, let's edit that content. So let's say, yes, save. And from here, we can say, hey, maybe instead of 15%, let's give them something a little better than 15%. Let's go and change this to, let's go and say 20% off. And then right now there's no discount code. Let's actually change that. Let's get rid of that. And I want to go to quick add. Let's make a custom one for them. Let's make a unique discount code right here. And this is going to be maybe, let's say 20%. Like I said, 20% off right there. Because we have redeem discount, we don't really need a shop now button. So let's delete that down here. Get rid of the expiration date right there. And now I think this looks a lot better. So finish editing. Now on their birthday, they will receive that email, get 20% off, and they can use that code and redeem the discount on our store. So I'm going to start the workflow. Let's close out of this. And that's kind of a good summary of how to get started with Omnisend. There really is a ton you can do here. Automations, I know I'm really kind of fixated on that. And so maybe you want to do more with campaigns, but I would highly recommend at the very least set up those automations that I just showed you. So Omnisend for many people does pay for itself very, very quickly. On average in the US, I think in 2023, the number was for every $1 spent on Omnisend, businesses earned $72. So pretty good ROI on this if you set it up correctly. Now, let's actually go back to where we were on WordPress. Now that we have some of our marketing set up here, I think that's very, very powerful. Let's talk about some other outlets we have for marketing. If we go down to plugins down here, let's say add new plugin. And I'm going to look for Yoast SEO, Y-O-A-S-T. It's like toast, but Yoast. It's actually right there, but I want to type it in case it's not for you. And we can install it right here. It'll look something like this unless they change their logo. And this is a free one again, but you can pay to upgrade if you wanted some more tools on here. And it's really nice because it helps you rank on Google. Essentially, SEO stands for search engine optimization. The goal here is to have keywords in the right locations, the right metadata populated, so that Google is able to identify every page, every blog, and correctly place you in Google search. And ideally, that would drive organic free customers to you who are already searching for something that you are already selling. So the idea here is if somebody's looking up hiking boots, we can be showing up in Google and potentially getting those customers. So now that Yoast has been installed, we can start first-time configuration. It's going to ask us a lot of questions. I'm going to close out of this. I don't need premium, but it's going to ask us a lot of questions for the initial kind of setup of our SEO here. So we can say start SEO data optimization. It's going to go through and analyze everything. We'll say continue. We can choose the site representation, what the website name is. So Santrel Outdoors, organization name. Now we can save and continue. Social profiles, we didn't actually add any of these yet. We can save and continue. Personal preferences, I don't need anything there. So we can say save and continue. And then now we can say finish configuration. Let's go to the SEO dashboard here. And like I said, there's a lot you can do down here, but really you'll see most of the benefits up within posts. So if you're posting an article, so maybe this one, for example, if we click on edit, you'll see the Yoast SEO tools down on the bottom here, where it'll show us how it's showing up in Google. It'll tell us how the title's looking, what the slug is. And right now we don't actually have a good meta description. So it's just going to pull from that article. We can create our own and type that in here. We can also see the SEO analysis. It'll tell us what's doing well, what's not doing well. So right now there's no links. We don't have any images, no internal links. The key phrase link doesn't even exist. Different things that it can kind of point out and help us customize and optimize those blog articles so we can start to rank in Google. It's really a good way to find some organic traffic, through writing blog posts and actually ranking on Google. You see it all the time with a ton of different brands out there. So I would recommend, this is definitely a long game. You're not going to rank on Google in a day, but I wouldn't sleep on this. I think this is something that really could make a big difference for your store. All right, and that's a summary of how you can get started with WooCommerce. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, consider liking and subscribing. I'm Mike O'Brien. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.